Think you know the Bible? Think again. Tune in as Rabbi Epstein and Tom Levine reveal the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary in Breakneck Through the Bible by Torch Dallas. Each episode may cover just a few verses, but don't let that fool you. Get ready to learn the Bible at a breakneck pace.
I'm excited to pick up on Parshas Lech Lecha on verse 10, where Abraham and Sarah are in Egypt.
Well, they're not yet in Egypt. They first have to get down there.
Yes.
Okay, hey.
So verse 10.
Egypt was one place when I was in Israel. I didn't have such a hanking to go visit.
So would you have gone?
I don't know. I mean, some of my friends went, the more adventurous ones.
And tell our audience why you had a hesitation, or any Jew really could have a hesitation to going to Egypt, even modern day Egypt.
Well, I don't consider it so safe.
Okay.
You know, it's been a pretty decent border with Israel, but I think if they found a Jew somewhere in the desert and he had an accident, nobody would mind, you know? And so I don't want to be that Jew who was in the desert.
But doesn't the Parsha at some point actually tell us not to go to Egypt?
The Torah. Now this is going to be after we left Egypt.
Okay.
Where the Torah says that. And that really comes from it says you should not go back to live in Egypt. Why? So when God created the world, he scattered sparks of holiness throughout the world. And it's a Jewish people's job to go and to find all those sparks that are scattered throughout the world and to sanctify those sparks. The Jewish people spent 210 years in Egypt, and not from when Abraham, what we're going to talk about this week, is Abraham going down and then he's going to leave. But when the Jewish people spent
in
slavery, and then Moses and taking the Jews out, when we left Egypt, we had sanctified every spark of holiness in Egypt. And so the Torah says, by the way, Jews should never live in Egypt. Why? Because it's really telling us that all the sparks of holiness that existed in Egypt no longer exist. They're all done. We've completed the mission that we need to do in that section of the world.
So that's really interesting, and I know it's kind of an aside to this week's podcast, but if we can explore that just a little bit further, does that imply that once a spark is sanctified, it becomes
spiritual, and we've spiritualized that spark, and now it's removed. And our job is to go around the world collecting all those sparks.
So at some point in time, we will have sanctified all those sparks. And what happens to the next generation of Jews? They have no more sparks to sanctify.
So they go to Israel. That's when we'll all go back to Israel. That's why God has us scattered throughout the world. Is because wherever we are, with a little tiny hole, somebody could be listening to our podcast in the middle of Timbuktu, right? And they listening to this podcast and bringing holiness to that part of the world, they've sanctified it. Tell you a funny story. When I was younger, 29, and we used to drive cross country a lot. And we were driving, usually we drove to the East Coast, this time we're driving to the West Coast. And I needed to pray the afternoon prayer. I had a daven mincha. And I'm looking, and this is the part of the country where there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing for as long as your eye can see. And
sounds like West Texas, but
yeah. But this was even like worse than that. Okay. And there's a pre-Waze, pre Google Map, and I'm looking for a place to pull over. And I'm looking for a place, to get a gas station with some bathrooms. At least the kids go to the bathroom. Nothing. And the sun is sinking in the sky. And I'm driving into the sun, right? And I said, okay, I got to pray. Nothing to do. So there was a ramp. There was like a ramp, an exit. So I pull up to the exit, and there's a road going north-south. Nothing to see, no miles, no stop signs, nothing. And I go, should I stop before the stop sign? Or should I go through the stop sign and stop on the other side? Right? Where's a safer place to stop? Anyway, I was going to daven, I was going to pull over on the right, so I was going to daven on the passenger side of the car. And I thought maybe I'll pull through the stop sign.
I could see that, so that if you distract a driver, he's not already...
Whatever, like this. I thought that might be maybe a little more space.
Yeah.
And I pull over and I get out of the car to go pray. And I said, God is so amazing. There's one spark of holiness in this part of the earth. No Jews around for no people around, right? Hundreds of miles. And I'm saying, and God needed one Jew to be driving, and he needed to stop for the mincha, for the afternoon service, somewhere over here. And then it was it on the other side of the stop sign? Was on this side? He made me think that it's better to be on this side of the stop sign. And I went and I prayed mincha.
Nice.
And that's always what I think when I'm in these gosh forsaken places. Like really out there, West Texas. You drive from Dallas to Amarillo. There's some stretch of the road, and you go from Amarillo up to Denver. My gosh, right? It's beautiful. It's my gosh. It's Amarillo to I sometimes like driving just so I could see as it changed to rolling hills to mountains.
So you felt good in collecting that spark.
Yes, because as a Jewish people, that helps bring the world to its completion.
So the Jews of the future who will not have those sparks to collect because they all have been collected, are they at a disadvantage? Are they they're missing out on collecting sparks?
Correct.
Is that a bad thing?
Everyone's got their mission. Everyone's mission is good. So everyone's got to do their mission. So that's how.
Okay.
That's what the Torah says. Don't go and live in Egypt. It's the Torah's way of saying there's nothing that a Jew needs to do in Egypt that hasn't been done. And people say, well, how can Maimonides live in Egypt? Right? And Maimonides actually writes, I live in sin every day because I live in Egypt. But the answer is that in Maimonides' times, right, 1200s, 1100s, 1200s, you didn't have a choice where you were going to live. Right? It means that, today we think, well, just pick up and move. Right? And it ain't so simple. And so that was what he was doing there. Right? But living in Egypt is, at this point in time, all on the table.
So do we have any idea where the sparks are, or at least where there's a target-rich environment for us to live in, where we have the probability of being able to interact or come with sparks, holiness?
So, there could be some great people, great spiritual people that could sense where they are. I think the thing that I always think of is, how did God pick Dallas to have, 70, 80, 90,000 Jews? Right? The answer is, there must be a lot of sparks hanging around Dallas. So he sent the Jewish people to be in Dallas to do what needs to be done. Right? So I'm assuming that the higher concentration of Jews, the more sparks of holiness that are there.
Okay, good.
Also, you have to look at the world from God's point of view. And God has the Jews being shuffled around the world. So we think, oh, it's just anti-Semitism, we're being pushed from here, being pushed to there. And reality, when we get upstairs to heaven, we're going to see that each time that he moved the Jews, because they had finished their task in that part of the world. So how do you get, they're comfortable, so how do you get them out of there? Okay, well, there's a bad guy that comes and, says he wants to open up free busing, free government, and all of a sudden, okay, we can't live here, we got to move. And so we learn, it's God shuffling us around. We understand we're part of a cosmic picture, and we are the cosmic players.
So you mentioned anti-Semitism
Mm-hmm.
as a technique that God can use to move us from place to place.
Right.
I was confronted with the question this week of where in the Torah is the root of anti-Semitism. And I know you've talked to us about this in the past, but I need a quick refresher.
Okay, so the answer really is when Isaac was giving the blessings to Jacob. In Genesis 27, where Isaac says as follows. Isaac tells Jacob the immortal words. The voice is the voice of Jacob, and the hands are the hands of Esau. Right? Which on the simple level, right, this is taking place. Here it is, chapter 27, verse 22 in Genesis. And Jacob came close to Isaac, his father, and he felt him. And he said, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And simplistically, he was talking like Jacob, but he was hairy like Esau. Now again, this is like a 2-year-old dressing up, and Isaac was really telling Jacob as follows, that the word for voice is kol in Hebrew, kuf vav lamed. So it says hakol kol. The voice is the voice of Jacob. The problem is in the Torah, if you look at it carefully, the second time it says voice, it removes the middle letter. Okay? So it spells it without the middle letter vav. When you take the vav out and you just have the letters kuf lamed, that word can be read as kal or weak. W-E-A-K. So Isaac was telling Jacob, the voice of Jacob, when it weakens, then the hands of Esau come about. And Esau starts beating you, which is anti-Semitism. So this is where Jacob spells it out. Isaac spells it out. And if you actually turn to the end of that story, so you go to 27, when Esau comes to his father, he says, and now this is chapter 27, verse 40. Okay, so it says as follows. This is when Esau cried, where's my blessings? All of a sudden he wants a blessing. All of a sudden he's holy now. And he goes, by your sword shall you live, but your brother you shall serve. Yet it shall be that when you are aggrieved, you may cast off the yoke from upon your neck. And the word aggrieved, Rashi explains, means when the Jewish people don't follow the Torah. And it says when the Jewish people don't follow the Torah, then you don't have to be subservient to Jacob, and you could throw off the yoke.
Wow.
So that would Genesis 27 is your source for what happens.
Which also I was going to say implies, it doesn't imply, it says that we bring anti-Semitism upon ourselves.
So it's very interesting. Correct. Which is why, what is the right way to fight anti-Semitism?
Engage more in Torah.
Correct. That's the real solution. Because right when you go and you tamp out the fire over here that these people are being anti-Semitic, well, if we need to feel that uncomfortableness, that reminding us that we need to be more Jewish, so God's going to bring it another way. So you could either be you could either be going the firefighter running to brush fire, or you could just get the arsonist. Only problem is, who's the arsonist over here? Is that our behavior is causing this to happen, which doesn't give them a pass, by the way. Right? In the spiritual world, we control everything, so you don't have to worry about it. In the physical world, people who are anti-Semitic are going to be punished for that. Right? You should understand, there's a judge and there's a jury. And there's a judgment. God is going to judge those people quite harshly, I would say. Right? Because they're messing with his people. You can't mess with God's people. For all the right reasons, you still can't mess with them.
But even those people have an opportunity to do tshuva.
Correct. Right, but that becomes our job.
Very good. Thank you, Rabbi.
All righty.
There was a famine in the land, and Abram descended to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land. And
okay. So the Torah now is telling us a fascinating story. This happens to be one of Abraham's 10 tests. God says, go to where I'm going to tell you. I'm going to make you wealthy. I'm going to make you rich. Life's going to be great. You're going to have the most amazing life. Avram says, great, picks himself up, moves halfway across the world. In those days, it was around the world, even though, right, it was from where he was in Iraq or Turkey to here, to Israel. And he finally gets there, and it's amazing, amazing land. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden, there's a famine in the land. The great, beautiful land that God told him to go to.
Do we know what the time frame from when he got there to when the famine appeared?
Within
a short period
of time.
Okay.
Right? Crazy. What's Abraham to do? God tells him to go. Stay there. I'm going to give you everything. Right? You be there, it's going to be great. And then he's there, and all of a sudden there's no rain, there's no water. His animals are dying, right? He's starving. Who knows if he's going to make it out alive? He's got a whole community with him. Does he pick him up and leave, or does he stay there?
And does he second guess himself and say, maybe this isn't the land that God wanted me to go to?
No.
Oh,
God made it clear
okay.
that this was the land he was supposed to be in.
Okay.
Okay, which is, again, more fascination. Right? God said, I want you to be here. And then all of a sudden, there's a famine. And it's a famine, so it's going to take away all your money.
So some people would take that as, okay, it's time to pick up and move.
Right.
But Abraham knew that's where God wanted him.
Where? In Israel. Right.
In the land where the famine was.
Right, but what does he do now? He picks up and goes down to Egypt.
Without being told to?
Without being told to.
Is that not a lack of faith?
Faith, okay. Good. So some people take it that way. Rashi does not. And
we follow. What does Rashi say?
Rashi says that Abraham picked up and went down to Egypt. And the test he had was was he going to kvetch to God? God told me, you told me to come here, now you made it worse, and now I have to leave again.
Well, what if Abraham said, I'm staying?
Again, but you have to do your hishtadlus. You have to do your effort.
No. That doesn't, no, Rabbi. What was his 10th test?
His 10th test was to bring his son up on the altar.
And so wouldn't the logic you just said say he would have not sacrificed Isaac? That was his test? Because his hishtadlus would be to save Isaac.
No, because God told him directly, I want you
But God
to
said to go down to the land of Israel.
He did go to the land of Israel.
Oh, so you're just like, are we playing semantics? That God said, go to the land of Israel, but don't stay there? Take Isaac up to the, you can bind him, but don't touch him?
Well, you have to listen carefully to what God says. Not always is God saying what you think he is.
Okay, good.
And you have to go back and you have to stop and ask yourself, what really is God saying? What did he really mean? Did I really infer something that I added on, or inferred something that was incorrect? And then Abraham says, obviously God wants me to leave because that's why he's making a famine. Okay, God, I'm at your service. Whatever you want, God. You want me to get up? You want me to leave? You tell me where you want me to go. Today you want me to drive to California. Tomorrow you want me to drive to New York. Then on Tuesday you want me to drive to Nebraska. And on Wednesday you want me to drive to...
Good, but that's different. Did God give Abraham any indication he wanted him to go to Egypt?
So let me tell you one piece. This was the first famine ever in the world.
Wow.
Right? Now we're talking about, right? Abraham is 75. He's born 1948. So it's 2023.
Just for our audience, when you say 1948.
1948 is from the creation of man.
Yeah, okay, good.
And okay, right?
Yeah.
So it's 52. So it's, right? So 2023. 2023 years into the world, there's never been a famine. Why has there never been a famine?
Okay, so we're back to Abraham. He's in the land that God specifically told him to go to.
Right.
And now there's a famine, and we would think that God would specifically tell Abraham to go somewhere else. But you're saying that may not be the case.
Correct. God was silent. Why was God silent? Because that's what we turned it into a test.
So you're saying had Abraham decided to stay in the land that God had directed him to be in, he would have failed the test.
Correct.
Ooh. Ooh. That sets a dangerous precedent.
Well, Nachmanides, right, takes that view, that's what he should have done. That God was testing him to see whether he should have left. Should not have left.
Because if you believe...
Because if God said to go, then that's where he wants you to go, and don't worry about it. Sit down, you're going to be fine.
Rashi doesn't see it that way.
Does not. And I mean, no. This is Rashi, this is Ramban. Folks,
yeah, who are we
to say which one? But Rashi, remember, we always go with Rashi. I'll tell you why, because Rashi's a simple explanation. That's for sure the simple way to read this. Rashi says, God said go, but then he made it that you couldn't be there. So now you got to move. Okay, so he got up and he moved.
So what if he moved somewhere other than Egypt?
So why did he move to Egypt?
Had he been there before?
Don't know.
Was it logistics? I know the way. It's closer. It's there's less obstacles. I don't have to cross the mountain. I mean, was there?
So I'm going to tell you something about Egypt that is different from all the other lands there. All the other lands there get their water from rain. Egypt had the mighty Nile River running through Egypt. So they never had a famine because always was water. And that's why.
And Abraham knew that. Okay, good.
Right? And so therefore, right, it's one of the 4 rivers that come out from Gan Eden is the Nile. Right? And so that goes ahead. And Abraham knew there was always going to be water there. Because what causes a famine? No rain. So Abraham knew that in Egypt there was rain. There was water.
So you're saying the drought, no rain, caused the famine because there was no...
Correct.
And so there was no famine in Egypt.
Correct.
And so as far as we're concerned, historically there has only been one famine in Egypt?
Interesting, right? Correct, right? What the Torah tells us about.
Yeah.
That's why it was so strange that in Egypt there should be a famine. They never understood that. They never understood that word. You know that old famous joke? So it says, what can you tell me about the famine or the shortage of beef? And you say that in Russia. They say, excuse me, what's beef? And then they come to America. You tell them about the shortage of beef. Say, excuse me, what shortage?
Okay.
Right? We come from different parts of the world. We hear different things. There are different things that go along. There was a famine in the land. So Abraham knew God was talking to him. And you want to hear the crazy part? Any natural events is God talking to us. Even today. There isn't just thing, it just happens to be. The hurricane forming in the Atlantic Ocean. It took a hard right and missed America. Or it didn't, and a direct hit. There's no such thing as just. Nature is God's way of talking to us.
So as Abraham is moving his community to Egypt, he is doing this without the express command from God.
Correct.
In his mind, he's thinking this is what God wants and this is the right thing to do. But even Abraham, there had to have been some doubt. Was there a point when Abraham got confirmation this is what God wanted him to do?
You mean that God said, very well, Abraham, you did a good job?
Yeah, or God said, I really wanted you to go north and you went south instead. I mean...
So it's interesting because he's not going to spend a long time in Egypt. He's going to get to Egypt and then it's going to be a couple of days, weeks, he's out of there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the famine's over. Right, so so he sees it. That was right. That's the next test of Abraham.
And when we say he went with his community,
well, he came with his community to the land of Israel.
Right. But was there ever a discussion of a not?
Did he have a town hall meeting?
Well, or some people said, no, I'm going to stay, or I'm not going to go, or now that we're in Egypt, I'm going to stay. I'm not.
So it's very interesting. The Torah doesn't give us those details. They're
not important to
not important to what happened. But I gotta believe those things happened. First Abraham's, advisor comes and says, there's no rain, and Abraham's busy doing 10 other things. He's not paying attention to it, or whatever, and then he says, okay, don't worry about it. God told us to come here. We're supposed to be here. Don't worry about it, right? And then the people start grumbling, and they come in. Abraham, you sure we're supposed to be here? You sure you got the right coordinates? Maybe you're trying to kind of turned around 2 numbers. Maybe we got to drop south further, and a little more west. And right, and Abraham go, no, and then at a certain point in time says, they come to Abraham like, what's going on? We don't have any food. Our children are going to die. Our animals are dying. What should we do? Right? So what was the tipping point, so to speak, that Abraham went, That's a good question. I don't know. But again, but that's
The test was Abraham did it and had
and
enough.
not just did it, but didn't complain. Meaning, we should understand that sometimes even when we do the thing that we do, very important, and we do the right action, let's say at this point in time was to go down to Egypt. But let's say we went down screaming and fetching, God, I can't believe you did this to me. You told me to leave my country. I left my country. I came all the way down here. You told me it's going to be great, and now it's a famine. God, you're just, right? And at that point in time, what happens? God got you to move, but you failed the test.
Because your intention, your good.
Right, and that's something always important for us to know. Be graceful.
And isn't today doing the mitzvahs, the intention that we do it with, incredibly important?
Yes.
Yeah.
And learning how to have the right intentions and doing things with the right intentions is really where it's at.
Verse 11.
All right, let's start from verse 10 again. It's been a while since we read that verse. So just read verse 10.
Or said another way, where we're starting from. There was a famine in the land, and Abram descended to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land.
And now, again, just interesting, and Abraham descended there. Why is it called descending?
Because he was traveling south.
The answer is because Israel, you always go aliyah to Israel. You always go up. When you leave Israel, you're going down. Because Israel is the highest spiritual place. So now they are descending from the highest spiritual platitude of Israel, and they're going to another country. Not just any country, by the way. They're going down to Egypt, which is considered the lowest spiritual country in the world.
And it occurred, as he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife...
Okay, I'm sorry. One more thing, right? It says to lagur shama, to dwell, to sojourn there. He wasn't planning to stay there. He's just going to go there, wait out the hunger, wait out the famine, and then go back to the land of Israel. So he never planned to permanently move to Egypt.
So can we extrapolate the word sojourn where when it's used in the Torah, it means a temporary...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
And it occurred, as he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife, Sarai, "See now, I have known that you are a woman of beautiful appearance, and it shall occur when the Egyptians will see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but you they will let live."
Now, Abraham just figured out his wife was gorgeous. By the way, according to the Talmud, Sarai was one of the four most beautiful women in the world. Avram just figured that out.
So the implication is that they have never lived in a land that would be depraved enough to covet another man's wife.
So that is very interesting. One of the lessons that the world learned from the flood was stay away from other people's wives. Right? Remember, we're now almost 400 years since the flood. So people kind of took that. And we're going to see, even in Egypt, they would rather kill you and then just make her a widow and take her than sleep with a married woman. Now, again, she's exceptionally beautiful. Exceptions are always made.
Okay, but that's why Abraham was...
So Abraham says, "You're right, behold, right? Now, behold, I know that you're beautiful." He's been married to her for, right, 50 years. So he says, now I know that you're beautiful means I know you're beautiful, and we're going to a place where that could be a liability. What's the liability? They're going to kill me. So, and you, they're going to let live. So who's the liability to?
Say that last sentence again.
Who's the liability to?
Well, it's to both, but it's to Abraham for his life, but he's also for Sarah, who would be then abused by all these
other people.
Yeah.
So who would have it easier? Somebody who gets killed or somebody who gets
that's a good point.
abused.
Yeah.
Right. So it's pretty. He's saying we're going into a really, really bad situation. Verse 13.
Just before I go to verse 13.
Yeah.
Do you feel the Torah makes a distinction between physical beauty and spiritual beauty?
Sure.
So when you say could Sarah have been spiritually beautiful but average when it comes to physical beauty?
When it says that you are a pretty woman, so the Talmud calls her one of the four most beautiful women in the world, and I'm talking about physical beauty.
It is, okay.
That's the Talmud. That's clearly.
Okay.
Now, you didn't have to be in the top 4 women in the world in order to be worried about her. Right? Even if she was a beautiful woman, right, there would be something to worry about, even not the top 4.
Yeah.
Right? And so usually when right, it talks about both. And in reality, you should know, what generally makes a woman beautiful is her inner glow, or what we'll call her spirituality is what makes her beautiful. Right? And sort of like that's how you can really appreciate it. Right? People think it's, how many times a week does she get her nails done? And she gets her mani-pedi, right? How many surgeries has she undergone? Right? But it's really only skin deep. There's only so much you could cover up. But in reality, that's what we need.
Good. So now I have known. Now I have known you are a beautiful appearance, a woman of beautiful appearance. And it shall occur when the Egyptians will see you, they will say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but you they will let live. Please say that you are my sister, that it may go well with me for your sake, and that I may live on account of you.
And why for her sake? Why for Sarah's sake?
Well, the implication there is they won't kill Abraham because there's no reason to kill Abraham because Sarah
is his sister. And that way,
really,
if they then take her, then he could work from the outside to free her.
But wouldn't it? But he's also implying that if they knew you were my wife, they wouldn't touch you until they kill me.
Right. Until there was an accident in the marketplace, runaway cart runs over Abraham.
So Abraham strategically or tactically shouldn't say, because tell them you're my sister. What he should say, tell them you're my sister-in-law. Because now you're admitting you're a married woman, which they've already said they're less likely to do anything to you, mm-hmm. and there is no husband for them to go out and kill.
You are brilliant, Tom. That's exactly what Abraham told him.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's not what it says, though.
It doesn't say it. I'm going to tell you what the Talmud says happened. That's exactly what Abraham did.
Well, let's cut the podcast
All right,
off
folks,
now.
a round of applause.
We're on a high point.
That's it, Tom. Amazing. That's exactly what they said happened, right? Because if she's married and the husband's not there to kill, that's the greatest protection, which is exactly what went on.
Okay.
Okay, wow.
13. Please say that you're my sister, and it will go well with me for your sake, and I may live on.
And it's interesting here. It'll go well for me, right? And Abraham says that they're going to give me presents.
Sure.
They want to flatter the brother.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Wine and dine the brother. That way when they ask for his sister's hand, oh, sure. Good friend of mine. Why did Abraham want money from Egypt? And we're going to see, by the way, that he doesn't want money from other people. So why does Abraham want money from Egypt?
Will it come out as we read on, or I don't know? Why does he want money from Egypt? I wouldn't think he'd want anything from Egypt.
Correct. And yet he's saying, let's do this as a strategy. Let's be strategic about this. Let's get paid for our travel, you know?
Well, you can make I don't believe this, but he's already kind of gone out on the limb and come to the realization in that God wanted him to go down to Egypt.
Right.
And so the extrapolation from there is, well, God wants me to benefit from going down to Egypt.
Good.
And one of the benefits would be to take some wealth from Egypt with us.
Good. Why?
Because he may come into a situation where he needs to give that wealth to get something more important.
So God doesn't have a way to make you wealthy without money from Egypt. There's no lotto. Could have won, Mega Millions. I don't know. Powerball.
Well, this is God saying to Abraham, go at least buy a ticket.
Well, buying a ticket is much easier than moving, 318 families down with you.
Yes.
So the answer is that Abraham, there's a concept in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, and dealing with the patriarchs and matriarchs of the Jewish people. Ma'asa avos simon labanim. What happens to the forefathers is a sign for their children. We might call it foreshadowing, but it's more than foreshadowing. It's what happened to them is going to happen to us. And therefore, if Abraham goes down to Egypt and leaves with money, when the Jewish people, hundreds of years later, are going to finally leave Egypt, they're going to, actually 395 years later, going to leave Egypt, they're going to leave with a lot of money. So Abraham said, so when we go down, we're going to go out and we're going to take a lot of money with us.
Good. Very good.
Okay. Verse number 14.
But it occurred with Abram coming to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful.
Okay. There's a problem with this verse.
The word but it occurred. It shouldn't be but it occurred. You don't need the word but it occurred. It was Abraham coming to Egypt. Egypt saw that.
Well, only Abram came down to Egypt. Sorry, didn't go down with him.
So it's implied Abraham and his community.
Entourage, community. But let me ask you a question. What would be your first tactical move?
I don't want to say send in spies, but but send in an advance party prior to moving everybody into Egypt.
And then what would you do? You're on your way down. You say, "My gosh, what am I going to do? They're going to hit on Sarai. They're going to kill me, right? All the things that can happen." So, what would be your first tactical move that you would make?
Go down by myself.
Right, and leave Sarah to starve to death.
Well, no, you're only going down to make the introduction because for the rest of the people that are with you, opposed to descending en masse with whatever number, hundreds of people, that would be intimidating. So you want to pave the way.
So you could send people ahead, but what is he going to do with Sarai? Right now, the big problem is Sarai.
I mean, disguise.
Good. Okay, you're thinking in the right direction. I was thinking put on a hijab and whatever, and
try to make her less beautiful.
Right. Maybe use makeup to make her ugly.
Yeah.
Good.
Walk with a limp.
Yeah. No. Good.
I mean, you can still be beautiful walking with a limp, but some kind of physical impairment.
Right. Yeah. So good. So what Abraham tried to do is he tried smuggling her in.
Okay.
And so
sure. Back of a carriage under blankets or whatever.
Right. Or put her in a box.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what he tried doing. That's why it was when Avram came down, because it was only Avram. Sarai was hidden. What happened?
Well, that doesn't work long term. I mean, even if you're only there for a few days, you still have to. So it was searched. His carriage was searched, and they found her.
Well, he had to pay taxes on the stuff going in.
Oh.
So they said, "What's in the box?" He said, "Well, whatever you want, I'll pay it for." They said, "Well, maybe it's wheat." It's okay, I paid a tax for wheat. So, well, maybe it's copper. So I'll pay the tax for copper. So maybe it's silver. I'll pay the tax for silver. Maybe it's gold. Maybe it's diamonds. Okay, I pay the tax for diamonds. And which one of them said they have to open the box? But he tried smuggling her in because that was the first line of defense. They don't have to know about her, right? Stick her, put a bunch of blankets on, and just bring her in.
Didn't work.
And they found her. Right? And they came and they saw that this woman was truly beautiful.
And when the officials of Pharaoh saw her, they lauded her for Pharaoh. Help me understand the word lauded her.
Laud is to praise.
To praise. Okay. They lauded her for Pharaoh. And
what it means for Pharaoh.
Instead of to Pharaoh.
To Pharaoh, right?
They lauded her for Pharaoh, indicating that this could become a possession of Pharaoh's.
Right. Meaning that she's fit for the king.
Yeah. And the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house.
Fascinating. And she was taken, even though, again, right, she was taken because Abraham's not her husband, right, and her husband is not here, but they took her to the house just for safekeeping.
And he treated Abram well for her sake. And he acquired sheep, cattle, donkeys, slaves, and maidservants, female donkeys, and camels.
Very interesting. Why did the Torah go through so many specifics of what he got?
Because it's a foreshadowing of what we're going to get when we leave Egypt.
Very good.
I was paying attention, Rabbi.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure. That's perfect.
But,
all right, we turn the page.
But...
Hold on. Top page 58, chapter 12, verse 17.
But Hashem afflicted Pharaoh along with his household, with severe plagues because of the matter of Sarai, the wife of Abram.
Mm.
Pharaoh summoned Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me she is your wife?" How did he find out?
Uh-huh.
Why did you say, "She is my sister," so that I would take her as my wife? Well, but he told her she was already married.
Right.
Now,
Again, so he's not such a tzaddik.
yeah. Now, here is your wife. Take her and go. So Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they escorted him and his wife and all that was his.
Okay. So now comes one of the greatest stories in the Torah that I love. Read verse 17 again.
But Hashem afflicted Pharaoh along with his household with severe plagues because of the matter of Sarah, the wife of Abraham.
Okay, and the literal says, and his household through the words of Sarai, the wife of Avram. So what happened was like this. Hashem first afflicted them with a terrible skin disease, which might be similar to psoriasis, something painful to the touch. You don't want anybody touching you. And God said, great, we're going to, and not only the entire household, the entire palace was like this. One of the greatest ironies, he finally has his most beautiful woman next door. And he has this terrible disease it's painful to the touch. So what does Paro do? Now, you don't become Paro by being like a wussy, you know? Like, if you're Paro, you're a tough dude. You're king of the hill. You know, how many people you had to kill to get there, who knows? So Paro, goes crawling over to Sarai's room. And he opens up the door and he walks into Sarai's room. And Sarai says, don't come near me. And Paro says, you ain't kidding. I'm the king. You should be honored that I'm here. And Sarai he goes, I'm the king. I'm coming. Pain, through the pain. He's walking through this pain because he got this prize, this gorgeous woman. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Paro gets swapped in the head and gets thrown back 5 feet. Looks around and doesn't see anything. Starts getting up and crawling back towards Sarah. And Sarah goes, hit him. And again, it gets whacked. And Paro keeps him going back. Paro is crawling, trying to touch this prize. And God had sent an angel to protect Sarah. And every time Sarah said hit him, the angel whacked him. That's what verse 17 says. And Hashem afflicted Paro with his terrible afflictions and his household through the words of Sarai, the wife of Avram. So he got a 2-for-1 job. He got this terrible skin disease that everyone got. And then he got worked over by Angel Mr. T,
So you got the message.
So he finally got the message. Now, it doesn't say how many times he got swapped. Like how many times did it take for him to finally figure out that this
ain't gonna happen.
And finally, you can imagine as he's passing out from being pounded by the angel, he goes, who are you? She said, well, I'm really Abraham's wife. So then he figures out, well, it must be because Abraham is a holy man, and therefore Therefore, God is protecting him. So now read verse 18.
Pharaoh summoned Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me she is your wife?"
But again, because Pyra said I told you she was a married woman. It's not what I did. I'm innocent. She said, "Why didn't you? It's your fault, Abraham. You should have told me she's your wife. I wouldn't have messed with you." Right? What? Right? Verse 19.
Why did you say she is my sister, so I would take her as my wife? Now, here is your wife. Take her and go. So Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him. They should escort him and his wife and all that was his.
Why does he tell him to leave Dodge? Why does he tell him to go?
Because he will become unafflicted.
So you would assume that he would protect her, right? And make sure that nobody touched her, right? Except he was living in Egypt. And he says, I can't guarantee your safety.
Oh, really? Pharaoh can't guarantee.
Yeah. He says, she's too beautiful. And there's going to be some wisecracker. And he goes, and I know if this is what happened just when I tried to have her, what would happen? What would his God do to me if I don't protect her? So it says to Avram, you have to leave town because I can't guarantee your safety. And they escort him out of Egypt.
And so at this point, they escort Abram and Sarah out, or was
and all their people?
So they all came with him in their encampment. Okay.
And then we're going to see next week, when chapter 13 is that the famine, they go back to Israel. The famine's over. We'll discuss that more next week.
Well, this was a great episode, Rabbi. Thank you.
Okay.
Looking forward to our next one.
Looks same here.
Everybody have a great day.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Tom.
You've been listening to Breakneck Through the Bible by Torch Dallas. Visit torchdallas.net for more mind-expanding episodes that will forever change how you read the Bible.